Hey. Hmm. Ooh. Hey, y'all. How is your day going? Do y'all fuck with this music? Sorry, I got a bit of a cough. Man, the linalool hits my throat every time. Do y'all mess with the music? Is that a thing you care about? I can't really decide if I like it. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, let me know what you think. I can turn it off. I can leave it on. Who cares? It's kind of relaxing, which goes against my anxious nature. Oh, you can't hear music? Damn it. Only I can hear it. Not again. Alright. So I don't need to listen to that then. That's cool. So I'll just ditch the headphones. Unplug that. And, man, that's so funny. Like, I can do technology, but I can't do technology all at the same time. And I'm just here again in a room by myself talking to y'all. Okay. So welcome to Sunday Night Something. This is episode 2. Yeah, sorry about that, y'all. Nice ASMR. That's funny. Episode 2. So last week, we discussed the origins of this band. And my green light's going on and off. And this week, we're going to sort of discuss how things progress after Party for the Grown and Sexy originally came out. And then sort of dig into the songs on So Young, So Insane. Let me turn my phone to a do not disturb kind of spot. So that whole time was very strange. So we record this EP, we get it out, we do the original demos for it in the place I was staying. Damn, that little chat window thing doesn't work. I gotta figure out how to do that too. Oh well. And I had no idea like what would happen. You know, just kind of like ass in the wind, just kind of surviving. You know, sort of looking for work, and I ended up working at a Michael's. Outside of where the fuck is Logic from? I can't remember the name of the place, but it was sort of like not very far from like Rockville, Maryland, and DC and shit. Germantown, boom, got it. Yeah, and so we go to this gentleman who is there's a guy, Trevor, who's in this band that we played with around sort of Maryland and D.C. And, boy, can I feel my fact that I worked all day today and I went to a gathering last night. Forgive me, Greg. I had some water. Just ought to know me as a mother. Ah. Appreciate y'all. So it comes out and it starts doing stuff. I remember first sort of like Absolute Punk, like a website, used to be a much bigger thing. Sort of a bit of a force in the genre. You know, if you can get yourself on a news site that had some pull, and sort of was where, you know, you caught wind of a lot of like newer bands, underground bands. This episode is sponsored by Diet Dr. Pepper specifically. That should help. Gather myself. So we're touring in odd places. You know, we're going to the Midwest in the middle of the winter. Nobody else plays there. Hello, Brazil. Yeah. Driving through Dundalk and Sparrows Point can be unfortunate, but, you know, you learn to live. You learn to accept where you're from and the lessons it taught you. You know, where you're from has got you out of there. You know, where you are from got you out of where you were from if you left. You know, otherwise, you liked it enough that you stayed. So, perspective is important. So we're doing a lot of stuff just because, like, none of us want to be home. We're just hitting people up directly, asking them to, you know, on the internet to, like, listen to our band. Back when that was, like, not a cheesy or kind of, like, cringy thing to do. I don't know if it's okay now. But it was fine when it first started with, like, MySpace and Facebook and all that. And promoters would, like, listen to your band. They'd give you a chance. The internet was still like, the rules were still being established. So we did a lot of things that other bands weren't willing to do, and that got us on the road. And that got us heard by some folks, which led to us getting involved with Richard and Stephanie Rains, which is very unfortunate. They've sort of haunted my existence for a good little while. But yeah, so that happens. We re-release the EP with the addition of Living the Dream and Dirty Laundry, and stuff kind of goes from there. We start writing So Young, So Insane in like the spring. The summer of 2008. We had recently had to let go of our drummer Paul, and Aaron Stern came aboard, and we were doing like a writing session, not unlike what we had done for the first EP, because it had gone well. You know, obviously people were listening to it. And I remember that feeling really good. I remember there were a bunch of like weird moments, like in Could It Be Sunstroke. I like went for a walk, and the rest of the band was still writing, just because, I don't know, I was probably hungover. And I came back, and they were like, yeah, we wrote a key change into the song. Can you sing this high? And that was like the first time I sang that high. And it was strange, that whole, like, writing the whole second EP was sort of a lot of figuring out, like, oh, maybe I can sing a little higher. Maybe I can do this. So I really started learning to play with my voice a little bit more. At this point, how many people had already passed through the band? At this point, two people had come and gone from the band. Man, that's, you know, a lot coming from Brazil. That's awesome. I don't know, it was cool. Wild stuff. So yeah, so we're writing, and it feels good, and this EP was, you know, and also like, you know, Rico had come aboard, so there were 6 of us now. and we all just kind of went to this place near the beach and wrote for like a week, and then we would later come back, and unfortunately, like the second time we came, like everybody brought their girlfriends, and me, I also brought my girlfriend along, but to me it was like, this is time to work. This is time to finish these songs. We got shit to do. We put an EP out like almost 2 years ago. We gotta make some new stuff. We gotta record some new stuff. So before the tour of the Deer Hunter that we did, we do all this, and it's incredibly distracting. And one of the things that I noticed as, oh man, look at my body language. One of the things I noticed as I started writing this second EP was how self-conscious I was initially. Man, my throat is, but Chug Lover, I'll answer that question in a little bit. But good God. But yeah, I got really self-conscious because I wrote all these songs over the course of like 3 or 4 years, and like then a band was like, okay, we're using them. And I never really considered how I would feel like exposing myself like that, in such sort of a vulnerable way. Especially since that had already been a thing that didn't go well in my life before. And so I remember writing some of this stuff like very last minute, or like keeping it all in my head. It's okay. Butch, Hug, Lover. And look at my body language. Sorry. Damn, my throat is killing me. It's a good time for story time, y'all. So it took a little while for me to figure out how to be that vulnerable with myself and with others, knowing people would be listening to it and sort of thinking about it critically rather than like just like, who's this weird guy? Like people would have like, you know, like I said in the song, like Living the Dream, I was like, at least 11,000 people. That's like yes, but Chug Lover, this is a safe space. You know, at least 11,000 people think I'm something I'm not. So I've got this imposter syndrome I'm trying to work through, and we're writing this stuff, and we're making all these mistakes professionally. We're aligning ourselves. We've aligned ourselves with the wrong people, and that has kind of like dicked us over in a lot of ways. And but we get the songs. Songs are almost done. And like the day before we're supposed to leave to record this EP, Ryan and Mike are Ryan's the guy that got me into the band that became this band, and Mike is a bassist that came along after our first sort of tour that got booked with like a booking agent. They were like, this is where you're playing, you know, rather than us being like, can we please play some Wednesday at like 7 p.m. There's like 4 of us. Can we invite others? You know. And so like they basically like both come up to all of us and they're like, hey, what's up? We quit. Sorry, practice is over. We're done. So we're all kind of like shit. And I, at this moment, am just kind of defiant, you know, like, yeah, like now sort of like the backbone, one of the other backbones of the band is leaving, the guy that started, and what are we gonna do? And like, we have all this shit to do, like, we're getting ready, we're getting ready to invest in the future, which like makes perfect sense. It's the perfect time to leave. Like, if a company is expanding and you're like, yeah, I don't know if I want to sell styrofoam for the rest of my life. I don't know if I want to become like the VP or whatever. Sorry. Sometimes because of dysautonomia, maybe that's what's going on. Sometimes I would like inhale air into my stomach rather than my lungs. Sorry. So yeah, we go. Miraculously. We get there. At this point, like, we have mistakenly hired our old manager back that we fired to hire Richard and Stephanie Rains. And then we rehired after we fired Richard and Stephanie because we didn't learn the first time. I don't know. And like, that's not going well in correlation with our booking agent and so on and so forth. So I'm like, I call the manager we had at the time as we're driving to Minnesota to record this EP that we do not have the money to pay for. We got some of it, but we don't have all of it. We're super excited. Like, I don't know how it happened, but like, Josh Kane from Motion City Soundtrack is producing it. Yeah, we're going to Minneapolis. We're staying with our friends in this band Take Cover. That's super cool that we had toured with a while back when I had gotten no, was that must have been after 2000 and October 10th, 2010. Trying to remember. I got arrested on tour with Take Cover once, and I'm failing to remember the date now. My shirt is a picture of Michael Shannon. I'm in the Michael Shannon fan club. You can get this shirt from Super Yaki. Michael Shannon rules. So I call my manager, who I've been like talking to about that. Like, I've been like, hey, you gotta communicate. We got it. Like, everybody's gotta know what's going on. Google says around. No, maybe March 3rd. No, April 25th. That's so funny. April 25th that I got arrested. Yeah, I got arrested on tour for public intoxication. We can talk about that another time. Maybe later after this. But so yeah, I call my booking agent, and I say to her, like, hey, yeah, we're on our way to Minneapolis to record this new EP, and she's like, what new EP? And I'm like, what do you mean, you people? You know, I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What are we talking about? So essentially, then, like, I have to immediately make the decision to immediately call our manager, and like, me and Aaron Stern have to spend like hours firing this guy because he's such a good talker. And that's so funny, man. Dan, I got a clearing of rumors. What a weird. I'm such an infamous little baby. But we get there, and it's cool. I remember we arrived and we were like, all right, we got $70 for 4 of us. Because, again, the only people who were left at this point were me, Aaron, Nolan, and Rico. So we go there, and we're staying with a couple of the people and take cover, and we're like, all right, we got $78 for 4 people for like 12 days. So we bought just like a lot of bread, a lot of cheese and turkey. I think Aaron was pretty insistent upon noodles and sauce. Good call. And then like as much of the cheapest vodka as we possibly could, which did not last more than like 4 or 5 days. There's no way it lasted that long. So yeah, we record it and it gets done, and we feel real good about it. And as we're getting to the end of it, somebody's like, who should we like? Should we get some like guest vocals or something on this record? And I'm I'm racking my brain, and like Josh is thinking of people that he might be able to call, because it's like it's our second thing. Like it's kind of like supposed to be a proper thing that we, it's like, hey, like in my brain it was like, all right, like you gave like the me just doing whatever the fuck I thought without anybody paying attention a shot. Like, let's see how I do under pressure. So we did that shit, and then I recall at the time, like when a while back, like Max from Say Anything had seen the band, I guess, sort of coming up, and listened to the band via Drive-Thru's front page when they were like hosting our first EP that we were giving away, and he made this like public statement that was like, hey, like basically like y'all should shut the fuck up, like Yumi is doing their own thing, like, it's valid. So that was cool, and like I found out how to reach out to him and thank him, because like, if I'm honest, there are a lot of bands that are a lot bigger than us that really enjoy the band, and they don't talk about the band, they don't support the band very much publicly, which is fine. I don't care. But like, it's rare that like a fellow artist, or at least it was, it feels like the community is better than it was then, but it was rare that a fellow artist would like go out of their way to publicly say like, hey, support this band. So I was like, hey man, you didn't have to do that, like I appreciate it. And he was like, anytime, and so he brought up like guest vocals, and I like just remembered that through the fog of hangovers and PTSD, and being just so sad about the world. And when did you guys start making more than $70? More than $70? When would we? I don't know what that number's so specific. First 5 years ish. Favorite tour is really tough. I've gotten to play with like bands I really like. I'm like picking it, like, man. I've gotten to tour with bands I really, really enjoy. Like, I've discovered my favorite band, Paper Rival, by just like happening to be on tour with them. But yeah, it's really tough. Like the Have Mercy and Weatherbox tour was really fun, and Head North, that was a really good tour. Least favorite tour? Least favorite tour is hard, because like a bad tour is at least interesting. You know what I mean? At the very least. Worst, at least favorite tour. That's so interesting. It would have to be a headlining tour. It would have to be the one that we were entirely responsible for, because like I wouldn't really feel comfortable blaming somebody else for turnout. Because it's as much my fault. It would be as much my fault as it would anybody else's. Especially like if we're headlining and we pick the bands, because nobody's paying for us to take them on tour. Anyway, so we record it. So I remember Max, and I think this is Butt Chug Lover's question, by the way. I remember Max. I reach out to him, and he's like, "Hell yeah, I'll do it. Send me the track." And I'm like, "Well, shit, Max is gonna do it. That ought to shut everybody up." Like it ought to be a real cool part. So we're like, "Yeah, this is sweet." I think I might have an idea. Mr. Cox. So Dan, I'm terrible at keeping a straight face. So like we mix the EP. Jordan sends it back to us. It sounds awesome. It's so like big and full and very like, yeah, we're good. You know, then Max, like the day it's due to go to pressing, like I get a call and it's like Texas. And by the way, like I'm like 23, I think at this point, and I just got my first cell phone. Like our booking agent was like, if you don't get one, I'm gonna quit. So he calls. He's like, hey man, I'm getting ready to do the part. Give me 5 minutes. Hangs up. It's like it's dark out. We're like, okay, like it's gonna be me there. Cool, that's fine. And remember we're in Noel's room, and then he calls me again. He's like, all right, I just emailed it to you. Let me know what you think. And he just fucking killed it. Like I was like, I did it. You know, I've always said that. Yeah, it was such a cool like such a thing. So, like, Is a Real Boy as a record was sort of one of the first times that like I heard music that sounded like what I was doing or sounded, had a similar affect. So it was real cool. Yeah, it was real cool to have happen. So yeah, that's how the whole thing happened. I remember it was a nightmare to get out. We sent a ton of, like, I had to like hand make them. Some people have them; they've survived. I had to go to like FedEx Kinko's on like December 20, like Christmas Eve, and print out a bunch of shit and like cut it all out and do all this. And like I remember being at like Noel's house on like Christmas Eve, and like I feel like Christmas, I can't remember. I feel like I might have literally been like, Mom, I gotta get these records out, and like cutting everything up, and and like Noel made the art, which was super cool, and then Evan from this company, The Bright Pursuit, who made like a bunch of our merch at the time. He's like super successful. He's way too big for us now. Probably not too big, but it probably costs. Oh damn, there's all these like, yeah, I'm so interested in the $70 thing. That's so interesting. Never. The band still hasn't broken even. Go to H. I don't know if that's a play on words. Anyway, yeah, and like I was like for the CD, like the artwork on the CD itself, there was like those. The best I could do was like shitty little like sticky CD labels, and like put my hand on it, or show. I don't know what what's the for real question? If you respond to something, reference for it, because I do have a brain injury, and a neurological disorder, which keeps blood from my brain. So I might lose track of what you're talking about. So yeah, it just took a lot to get done. I remember like people weren't happy when we were trying to press them. No man, like I've Jeff, I do that. Like this has been. I used to do this because I like for a long time I was confusing myself with what I did to survive, and like I was making a lot. I was like really digging into music, and I was sacrificing so much because this is the only thing anybody's ever told me I do a good job at. You know, no, there was, yeah, I could not. Yeah, so what are you gonna do? How far wouldn't you go for the thing to be great in somebody's eyes? It's when it's withheld from you. When it's withheld from you, you start to crave it. But yeah, I do it because and I've learned to, Jeff. I learned to love it. I've put more. I mean, literally, like I've put more financially into into this coming record. Our new record, Something Heavy, which is out September 17th. You can pre-order it now through No Hope Records. You can go to youmeband.com and find out. If you want to just give me money, I'll take that as well. That's the commercial. Have you ever had a brown soda? What am I doing? It feels like having a nervous breakdown, like on like psychosis. There's nobody here. This is like the most acoustic show ever. For that, all my own cell phone. Yeah, like it really did feel good to accomplish that. Like everybody that was giving me a hard time and like I think it's just we use a shitload of gang vocals and we're into weird. We think about weird stuff. We got different brains. I don't write a lot of songs about girls because I got much bigger problems than romance. They're in there, but I'm not writing like "you broke my heart" things. They're fine. Somebody is stomping like crazy in my neighbor's house. What is a Ko-Fi? I'm gonna look that up. People stomping and shit. So, is there a holiday today, chat? If y'all don't mind telling me, maybe it's just somebody's birthday. I don't know. So that's how the record was made. Does anybody have any questions? Yo, is it really Father's Day? I don't know if my neighbors are Brazilian. I don't think they're Brazilian. No. Maybe. I don't know. But here. So, Platy Cat, I'm working on something. Pay attention to the internet tomorrow. I want to try something out with some folks, and see how it does. But yeah, I'm working on something. Platy Cat and the rest of y'all. I wish this little chat I'm so bad at. Is it nope? This. Oh, it just started working. I pointed at it and it started working. What the fuck? Sorry. Oh, what? Anyway. So, does anybody have any questions? So, what song off of is most meaningful to me today? What song is most meaningful? That's so interesting because my dog's sniffing me. What song is most... I think I can get back up now. Yeah, either I can get back up now or sometimes we have too much fun. Yeah, those are just both the most personal. Like, what I think is interesting about... No, my dog is too big. You can actually... Muddy girl, come here. Come here. You guys want to see my dog? Come here, Stinky. Come here. Come here. She's so excited. You gotta come up here. You gotta say hi to the people, girl. Girl, you gotta say hi to the people. Come on up here. Come on up here, old girl. Come on up here. So I pulled up the track list and the lyrics. So let's does any more questions? about any step. What is your favorite song in terms of the CT writing? So let's dig into the songs. Like I love to eat. I asked you guys, all of you guys. That's so. Yeah, we never played The Symptom live, like 2 or 3 times. Muscular Pants. That's the only. Yeah, it's very rare. Do you now? Have you thought of the band? I don't think of the band as a solo project, but I'm like the guy. Like it doesn't exist without me. Like if that was the weird thing. Butch Hugh Glover is one of the reasons Ryan left the band right before we recorded So Young So Insane is that he said that I failed to accept that You, Me, and Everyone We Know is my band. And that was a really interesting thing to think about. And he didn't tell me that until after everyone quit the band in 2011 because of my drinking and misuse of funds. So that was the thing that like would later come to bite me in the ass. That like I wish he had better communicated. More directly, but I don't think I was really in a place at the time to hear it. I was just trying to survive. Both times I saw you play back moving. Oh man, yeah, Orlando doesn't mess around. Would you say the band went through any genre or style changes through? So as far as like genre or style changes, how do you scroll? Oh man, y'all are chatting up. I love it. Y'all are cool. Muddy, yeah. But yeah, so I've never really thought of the band as like a solo project. As far as like I'm the only one doing anything, I think I would imagine there are a lot of people that are doing a lot less than I am that are the only one in their press photos. And I think like the only reason I do it now is just because like I've always thought of the band as like just a big ass band. But strangely enough, that makes like as a big ass band like people come and go from. But I hope so too. I hope that person doesn't realize it. Fucking dysautonomia. What was I saying? I don't think of it as a side or as a. Oh, but yeah. So I do a lot. I think the only reason I'm alone in the press photos right now is because in thinking the band that way, it's like people come and go, and it's so hard to like document accurately. And I want to, so I'm like trying to think of as I move forward, like in this sort of process, and as I'm like being like, okay, I make music, like continuing to do so. I'm trying to think of creative ways to validate and recognize my bandmates and include them. Yeah, and make sure that like they're acknowledged and they're shown worth. And I think like as we like reestablish a regular pace, like once that's a thing, I think we're gonna be smiling together a lot. But no, I've not really thought of it as necessarily a side project. Platy Cat. We're gonna talk about Happy Birthday in a little bit. But what of the songs on? Sorry, I'm just scrolling through everything. Of the songs on So Young So Insane, I know we've been chatting about 45 minutes, just bullshitting and bullshitting. I hope you guys are like enjoying yourselves. I hope this is okay. This is very bright light for me. So with my dysautonomia, I'm very sensitive to lights. This is super bright for me. I know I look very pretty, but it's a little challenging for me. So that's sort of why I'm like squinting, if that's okay. So where the final showing? You guys are so fun. Look at you guys all chatting. So While I look through the chat, what song do you guys want to hear about first? Do you want to go just in like order of discography, or do you want the final show? I thought we were done. I thought it was all done. Muscular Pants in order. All right, I like it. They exist that way for a reason. Okay. Like we have consensus. I feel like at least a little bit, right? I was gonna play it, like try to like play the songs so that like and then like listen through it, but I feel like I couldn't put it up on YouTube, and I know there have been a lot of people watching it. So I just figured like I'd like let it sit, but like maybe we'll play some stuff over time. I think I just have to do one. I think I just need to like ask one of the Sundays off of work. I have a job, by the way, like everybody does. I know it's not well documented on Instagram. But I have a job. Do you hear my voice, Coder? I'm barely talking tonight. Happy. Maybe. No, I'm not. Performing. Oh, it's such pressure. I love that. Why is this? What is happening here? What's this? Reply to message. The chat thing doesn't. I feel like it's just me on the chat being like, "Hey, how does this work?" So my day job, I work at a dispensary. Yeah, I work I'm a patient consultant at a dispensary. It's very helpful. I really like helping people. I owned a gym for like 5 years, and lost the gym thanks to the pandemic, which gave me a lot of time to think about music, which is how I wrote the best record of the band's career, Something Heavy, which is out September 17th. You can pre-order it through No Hope Records. It's very good. We're also playing in Chicago on October 9th. And we're playing in New York City on October 30th. And we're playing in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I don't know why I'm so aggressive. November 18th. So yeah. I forgot. Yeah, that's my brain. So we're gonna go in order. Yeah, I work at a dispensary. Is there an order? Yeah, there's always an order of the songs. Muscular Pants. Most of the time, it is like. To me, I think a lot about the way like our songs move, and sort of the dynamics of the way things sound throughout. And now, no, heavy is a well. That's sort of the way I. That's one of the ways I thought, like the way I considered it, the way I initially thought. Anyway, we'll dig into that later. We're gonna talk about the new album on September 19th, 2 days after it comes out here on Twitch. I'm gonna have like a softbox by then, and not just this light or whatever. Anyway, move that back just a little bit. So, let's talk about things in order. So the first song is I Can Get Back Up Now. So I Can Get Back Up Now was a weird... I Can Get Back Up Now was very much an introduction to exploring my trauma of kidnapping and torture through song, and sort of just like the chronic lack of reliable people in my life growing up. I'm gonna pull up like all the lyrics here, like they say like if an adult meets like 30% of your emotional needs growing up, you'll be fine. And like my ACEs score is 7 out of 10, so like let's figure it out. A lot of it just had, the song, there's we talk about like sort of I guess very right off the bat, very like there was a time when I thought it would never be this close with anyone. Like the loneliest I ever felt was sort of like when I was abused at 10 out in the hot Pacific sun. And then I jumped sort of like fast forward to like a friend that was I had a lot of like weird relationships, like not like romantic relationships, but like people relied on me in weird ways that weren't healthy. And like I gave so much of myself to others because I didn't have a sense of boundaries. I'm just talking to myself about my own bullshit. So that's like, so that's what that's about. Like I remember like getting a call from my high school friend, and her being like, "I'm gonna fucking kill myself," and then like me sprinting to her house, and then like her just being like, "No, this guy just did this kind of thing," and just sort of me being like, "So you're like." So I did like no. There's no like life danger happening. And then like we had a falling out, and that sort of like after a year or two of college, which is like natural. But I had so few friends. I and I was also like so afraid of addiction, like even in like high school and as like an 18-year-old, because I knew how rampant it. Really, just because I knew how rampant it was in my family, and how quickly stuff can spiral out of control. Um, and and then just bounce into the notes of like, why am I doubting myself? Why are others doubting me? I think I remember actually like writing this verse like relative to walk hard. Um, it's funny how my emotions and body language have shifted a little bit, and the way I talk is funny. Um, yes, Umbershine. Yes, like there's a like it's weird. Like sorry, not to like I'm jumping in the chat real quick. I hope that's okay. Do you feel ever inspired or motivated by my own? I often Umbershine and everybody else. I actually like will listen to my older stuff, um, to like remind myself of what I'm capable of, if that makes sense. Because I don't know that imposter. At least I used to. I'm gonna talk about, as over the next like month or two, as things progress for the new record, just sort of like how different this last couple of years through suffering and unpacking my life until now has just radically shifted my approach to life and writing. But yes, like I've always had like imposter syndrome about it because I've never really dreamed about it, as I've talked about before. So yeah, it's like to remind myself of what I've done. Henry Rollins like keeps a list of every gig he's ever had, like every job, every show, every yada yada yada. Like he has all that. No, yeah, music. I'm just a part of the music. Like I'm just like I roll the ball, and then we all, we the big capital W. We make the thing. Like part of it. Part of the song is your experience of it. Paradoxically enough, like I put it out in the world, and then we react. Getting back up. Do you feel like something heavy is like you are getting back up, that you embrace music since your last? We'll talk about something heavy in a little bit, but so back to I can get back up now. Oh man, I'm rambling. I feel like there needs to be breaks to this, or like, do people really do this like several times a day? Like, there are humans that think that this is a valid thing to do with like, and they're like, give me money. They're like, oh, thank you for giving. Like, what's a sub? What's this? Well, like what's a sub on Twitch? you know. So yeah. So one interesting thing about the lyrics, if I can get back up now. is and so like just like little things that I've like I don't know I've shared and now I'm telling people. Uh, so you keep on like the you keep on kicking me like ain't it a shame we're so young and insane. Um, the whole like so young so insane thing came from how self-conscious my bandmates turn the lights on so your eyes don't have to focus so much on the screen. Oh man, you're so good, Goder. You're so good. How does this work? I just leave and come back later. So this is all artwork and stuff, you know? This is how do I like this has got to be a second talent by meteorologist. That Simpsons Tom Hanks is giving me my James Shotwell. What a sweetie. Anyway, I'll just like turn this. Does this make a difference? Oh, a little bit, I guess. Sure. So, um, bye. So ain't it a shame how like self-conscious my bandmates were about like getting older, like just like oh shit, like I'm not 25. At least I'm not 25 yet. I remember it being like reminded me like I remember it used to be, and I've like passed it on. Like Stephen Jenkins was like 31 when before Third Eye Blind like happened. Yada yada yada. There's so much ageism in music. I think part of it is that like one you're selling your youth literally like it's a thing you're marketing, and secondly, we tend. Yep, lost it. One thing. I just rig parried myself. Um, do you ever? It's a great idea. Oh, anyway, so there's a lot of ageism rampant in music. Everybody gets very self-conscious. We came up as a band in a time where looks were above all else, and it fucked a lot of people up, including me. I've written about it several times. Yeah, that's me messing with this ring light. And if I point at it, will it work again? Will it show up? It doesn't just show. It just doesn't show up on screen. Maybe that's the deal. I'm just trapped in a box. My PayPal and Venmo. I'm sorry, my Cash App and Venmo are Yumi Band, YOUME Band. Stupid. I can't believe people do this. And so I thought it was like I was like, okay, there are all these people around us, like folks were like, you gotta write songs about sex and girls and stuff, and I was like, I got bigger problems, and so this was just like there's so many songs that are like like meta commentary on like what people like my experience of this, like trying to make it in music, I guess. So that's this, like I'm so young, so insane, like everybody, back then we romanticized like mental illness. And so for a little while we like stopped romanticizing it, but we're back to romanticizing it. Like, it's there's a lot of good people doing a lot of good work, but now there's like I'll talk about with something heavy in in weeks to come, that like now we know that we're not alone, and like now we got to do something about it. We can't, like, our blanket depression and PTSD and trauma and anxiety and, intrusive thoughts and OCD, all that stuff it feels like a warm blanket, and it feels like it's easier to keep, to stay aligned, to stay aligned with it. It's so hard to not, but we have to, 'cause otherwise we're just gonna pass whatever was passed to us onward to someone else. I've tried much in my own life to avoid hurting others, but I've succumbed to it. I've succumbed to my trauma. Yeah. So it's important to start to figure out how to heal, or to recognize your basic goodness. I think at its first and foremost. So there are shades of these lessons starting to pop up in these songs. But I just wanted to point out, I remember we're driving late at night on tour, and I can't remember what we were listening to. But it was late as shit. It was dark. We were looking for gas, and something, I have no idea what it was. If anybody has any idea, please tell me. But it was just something someone was listening to something on the radio that went it was almost like background, like someone was singing in the studio, at the end of a song. It's like someone was just I'll be better than I ever am. I'll be better than I ever am. And so I ended up changing it to this, or and then they said something about being a cautious man. And I ended up coming up with just this phrase, I used to love what he used to love. They used to say I was a cautious man, but it's been weeks since I looked both ways or gave a damn. That was sort of where this whole song came from, that initial idea. Yeah. There were times where I just didn't have more to write, so it's one of the occasions where I was okay, let's just repeat some stuff. But yeah, this is sort of the first major, I guess, first really some weird shit happened to me, and we're gonna talk about it a little bit, but frame it in a way that's comfortable. Yeah. Any questions about any of that? I'm gonna turn on the lights. We're all trapped in boxes. Cool. Yeah. So we'll move right along then. Is this lagging a little bit? Are we happy? You happy? Do we know it? Cool. Alright. Next, could it be Sunstroke? So this is I'll say, before we move on I can get back up now. So the process of all the instrumentation on this album was rather collaborative. In fact, Rico, this may be before you recorded, but after what happened. What is this? Before recorded, but what happened when your van? Oh, when our van caught fire, we lost, I lost all my possessions and identification and backup forms of ID, and the van burned to the ground. We missed a show. Noel's parents basically were buying a van and then drove it down to, they found a used van, drove it down to near Atlanta where we burned to the ground. And then we drove on to the next show in Jacksonville at Jackrabbits. That's what happened. And people gave us some money and clothes, and it was very nice, and it felt like a good thing to overcome. And I told that story last time. Welcome back, a busload of bees. But yeah, we just kept on soldiering on. That was sort of once we decided, we were okay, we got to record an EP now. And so we started the recording process, which I discussed earlier, but I left out the fact that it was right after the van burned to the ground and we finished the Deer Hunter Lydia I Alaska tour. What a fun tour. I enjoyed that. I apologize. I was so drunk on the last one. Don't have any merch from that era. Dream tour, bands you'd like to play with. Oh man, I'd really like to tour with Spanish love songs. Who else? I would really like to to just play. It can be like just a couple days, but I just want to watch a free Bon Iver show for a couple days in a row. That would be cool. Bands I'd like to play. Dream tour, like Spanish love songs, Weatherbox, and then I need somebody that's softer, like You Me, something that's like a little more pop centric. Because those bands are so cred. We're like the softies. We're the 10 plies of those bands because I don't know why. So and it was one of those tours where I'm like, I can't say this makes sense, but I love it. Yeah, they didn't, I think like I was told that they didn't want us. They ended up like not wanting us on the tour. They wanted to like renege. Is that an okay thing to say? Renegotiate the offer? Is that a thing? Is that what that is? Do you have any features? I've only done 3. I did that one. I did another one with a band called That Was Something. That was also from the Michigan area. And then fucking, can we curse? And then I did another one. Damn, I can't remember the band's name now. Anyway, I don't do a lot of features. Only if I like think the song's cool. You know, I also like caught a ride from somebody I gave a feature to once. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not like motivated to sing stuff that wasn't that like I'm not connected to all the time. So like even the covers we've done, like I've had like personal connections to them. Not like the people behind them, but like they remind me of a thing. Yeah, there's like, well, I suggest that you get the record straight. Dream features, like Marabot, do I want like songs I'd like to be on or people I would like to have on songs? I just wait in silence until the internet featuring. So my goal is that you guys spend so much time and effort spreading the gospel of this band's new record that we're successful enough that I can get Pusha T on the next full length. Which, if we're successful enough to make that happen, it means I don't have to work a lot. So let's go for that. I could even just get like the like I would love just, oh man, that feels so good. Be so good. And then I also would like Andrew WK on a song. Yeah, and then I was gonna say Spanish love songs, but ooh. So anyway, could it be Sunstroke? Sorry, we're fucking bullshitting now. So could it be Sunstroke was? It was just like the guys brought this like goofy ass like cutesy little tune. It was super poppy. Like these songs felt like they were a lot more straightforward and not less interesting, but we had to like we were thinking about making music, which doesn't always we were thinking a lot. So I'm glad that all our ideas worked, but it felt like a lot of thinking at the time. So this song is sort of really, if I can be honest, just being young and horny. Like I'm on Genius looking at the lyrics and it's bathe in the hot, hot sun. It's actually like being horny like on tour, but like being gross. I don't know if anybody. I have been respectful enough to not let anybody involve themselves with me when I've been too unshowered on tour. But I can't say that for all people with a penis. So yeah, the song's just about being horny and realizing like you're gonna make mistakes. Sort of thinking about old relationships. Yeah, it was just like for me. I was just like, how do I just write a song that's feels a little more casual, and like isn't so like, but so like heavy. Song and it kind of makes me sad. Wait, no, the lyrics on this are bad. The lyrics are "bathe in the hot, hot sun," not they're fucking right. Live in the hot, hot sun. Oh, I like. Is everybody going to Genius to pull up the lyrics? That's so funny. So yeah, I'm on Genius. Genius shout out. If somebody cuts this up and sends it to Genius, I just want to be on Genius verified with my fire ass lyrics. So fucking bad on this new release. The heat is, I had a thought about confidence the other day. One of the we see all these cults of personality, and all this devotion to like stars and celebrities and stuff. And I thought it was Cards with a Man. Oh, yeah, Man with No Hands. Double. Yep. Oh fuck! I just lost my train of thought. Let's get it back. Ben. Let's get it back. Come on, what were we talking about? Anyway, that's that. Lost it. Disowned me. Sometimes you lose yourself. Yes, I gave a busload of bees. I gave Sparrow Speaks permission to do that. I released A Great Big Hole, which we'll be talking about in a couple of weeks, through his record label back in the day. So yeah. So could it be Sunstroke? Yeah. I very much tried to write something that felt a little more relaxed, because it felt like I was also getting rather heavy in some spots. Yeah, so I think some of the content of this record you're going to notice, as we talk about it, there's a bit of an aversion to vulnerability at times, which is fine. It's fine. But I think, in talking about it, it was because I was a little self-conscious, that oh shit, now people are listening, and now people have opinions, because what I had said from the start was I'm gonna make you may not like the genre or the sound, but you will respect the execution of the music. It's good. That's it. I'm about the work to a fault. I like doing this because I'm hanging out with y'all. But there's just so much stuff that I already made the thing. I do this other stuff to the thing. It's a good thing. Just listen to the thing. But yeah. So if you got any questions, hit me in the chat. I'm Ben. I'm in the band You Mean Everyone We Know. I'm super cool, and I wrote your second favorite album of the year. That's gonna be out September 17th, called Something Heavy. This is the little scroll bar. Dude, how much liquid are you gonna drink without peeing? So, Goater, I have dysautonomia, and one of the things that happens is I have problems with my circulation. So Basically, like, blood will pool in the lower half of my body. This is a new thing. So, like, I'm drinking a lot of water right now to essentially keep blood in my brain so that I can keep telling you these amazing stories, which we're going to continue every week, Sunday night something, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Which song from SYSI is my least favorite? You know, interestingly enough, for me, it's either going to be... Let me look at the track listing again. Man, y'all, like... It's either... Could it be Sunstroke or Happy Birthday? Like, just as far as, like, in the ways I... Just as far as, like, in the ways I'm motivated to write and perform, like, those songs don't have that, or didn't have that same motivation. There wasn't as much of that, like, confessory, sort of catharsis out of it. Yeah. Yeah, either one of those, but, like, not because they're bad songs, more just because, like, I don't connect with them oftentimes in the same way I connect with other songs. That's really it. Yeah, but I do enjoy it. I enjoy the have fun nature of it, but, you know, like, you put it next to something on I Wish More People Gave a Shit, and it barely makes... The only things that make sense on here for that are, like, Colorful Language and I Can Get Back Up Now. I mean, shit, like, as we move on to something heavy, or fucking just accidentally Freudian slip the name of the new record and the day it comes out, September 17th. Oh, I'm sorry. Like, no, it's a very good song, Umbra Shine. I'm really proud of it that we were able to do it and, like, make it work and make it a good song and it feel good. I just mean, like, I wrote the song about a person while making up portions, like, while imagining what portions of their life were like based on what I knew about human behavior at the time, or what I thought I knew. Not overly presumptive, but yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's a good tune. But so let's talk about A Symptom. That's what I called it. Yeah, it's so funny with all the we start. You know, it's on the first EP. I have all these stupid ass, like, Because I Spit Hot Fire titles, and Carolina Heat, I guess, is kind of serious, but, like, I'd Be More Interested If You're Already Spoken For. Like, oh, it's so funny, like, that song title, like, I'd Be More Interested If You Were Already Spoken For. You know, we talked about how, like, I was, like, the other person in these relationships for, like, these, like, not romantic, but although not platonic relationships either, because I was, like, accepting that low level of love from people. But, like, I tried to, like, take ownership of it by being like, I'd be more interested if you were already spoken for, like, making a tough song title. Yeah, it's interesting, like, the way we try to stand up for ourselves. So A Symptom is interesting because I remember just, like, we wrote it all together. As far as the music, we were just, like, jamming a little bit because I was like, I want to do, like, one of these, like, I've always been the doo-wop guy in the band, all the weird tempos or weird rhythms and stuff like that. So I you know, part of this is just sort of like you know, again, the lyrics on here are wrong. Like, to tell you all about you making all the wrong hands, it's plans, which is fine. So I was just sort of like exploring what feeling used about, what being used like felt like, and the anxiety, like, and then just like sort of like I spent a lot of time like, you know, the whole like to tell you all about you making all the wrong plans, like it's really out of my plan, like, you know, me saying to myself like I'm like I'm an idiot, like how do I know what anybody thinks, or like what anybody's going to do, or why anybody did anything, and just sort of like exploring like it this song feels like a slow-mo with like pop-ups of being like, Ben's full of shit and he's super anxious while trying to have this conversation with this guy about his band that he won't stop talking about, you know. And it feels like that, while also like again trying to reclaim that this whole thing is like trying to sort of puff up my chest at a time where I feel sort of like hurt and wounded, you know. Do I feel disconnected from songs like A Symptom or songs like Happy Birthday? Umbra Shine. Checking the chat, getting better at the chat. Next week, I'm gonna have all these crazy lights. I'm gonna be an official YouTuber. I'll have glasses, not glasses. I like glasses. Brain. Lights. What was I even saying? Any song that. Yeah, Jeff. On this song, we played a Symptom a lot. Oh my gosh, I have a story. Oh my gosh. So, A Symptom. I'm so yeah. So this is like examining all of this. I'm gonna refresh the chat. So we get asked. We get an email. Our brain. What am I? Like I'm sorry. I've been doing this all day. I've been talking to patients. We get an email that asks if we want to play a Sweet 16 in New York, Nyack? Is it Nyack? No, maybe it's Nyack. Yeah, Nyack, New Jersey, New York. Anyway, I'm trying. Do I feel connected to those? I feel like I don't feel connected because it feels like part of the step. It feels like I can kind of plot out my life through these songs essentially. So like if I didn't work through the emotions of that, like, you know, what else later along the line wouldn't I have worked out emotions through to write whatever else. So, you know, I had to go through that process. I value myself a lot more now. And I understand why those, like, I still valued, like, what I did get out of them. And, like, what I still value the interactions, and, like, I still value them as people. But, like, I just better understand, like, especially now that I remember more of my life, because those are just a lot of blackness, a lot of darkness. I understand it's nice to remember and sort of understand why things happen the way they have. But yeah, I don't feel disconnected in that way. I don't feel that way anymore. But I remember feeling that way. If that makes sense. So yeah, that's about. And as far as like just the sound, I remember like recording the demos, or like just having I remember the demo I recorded like, this was like when we really first started doing this, noticeably. I recorded like fucking 7 harmonies. And I did that by lying and using just like a shitload of auto-tune. I had no idea what I was doing, but it just worked out. And recorded all those harmonies, and we were like, ooh, that's cool. So like I started like sneaking in more, like, it's like, all right, let's add a little Queen in here. Let's like just tucking all these little goofy things from just song like music I like that I wanted to hear. So this was like one of the forays into like just doing whatever the hell I wanted to do, and we wanted to do. Wait, story. So a symptom. We get invited to play a Sweet 16. We're paid handsomely. We show up. It's cool. It's all 16-year-olds. The guys are all wearing suits that are too big. The girls are all wearing stuff they feel good about. So we're up there playing. Nobody really gives a shit. Food's good. Everybody's nice. Everybody's great. Like it's a good time. And like while we're playing a symptom, like they're sort of like everybody like starts slow dancing, like slow dance time. So it's fun. And there's like a little stage. It was at like this little rec center. It was cute. It was fun. But so we're like performing, and we notice that like this couple, the dude is just going ham on this teenage girl on the dance floor, just manually attending to her. And so like I look over, it's like I think Ryan was still in the band, but I like look over at him and I look over at Noel and Rico, and I'm like, what are we supposed to do? Like, are we supposed to keep playing? Do we stop? Like, do we scold them? I feel like having a microphone puts a spotlight on the teenagers finger banging on the dance floor. But like, sure enough, I see these like parents, kind of the fuck. And so they all swoop up around him and are like, Bryce, you're not allowed to fucking do that. And then, Brittany, you gotta stop with that shit. So that's just a memory that came to mind about a symptom. Yeah, it happened and it was weird, but hilarious all the same. We've had some very odd interactions. Wait, nice Hank Hill? Did I fall into Hank Hill? Peggy Hill. I'm just gonna sit here and do voices. Holy shit! Oh, this is gonna go longer than last time. I can't believe it. So yeah, that's a symptom. Any questions as we move on? I'm going down the next list. A colorful language. Oh my! I can't believe I've been sitting here for this long. And y'all have too. That's so nice. So anyway. We've moved on to colorful language. So colorful language. So what else has been happening around this time? It's a very tumultuous time. So what happens first is we have to kick Dan, our original bassist, out of the band. Hank Hill. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna keep doing it. I'm sorry. So we have to kick our original bassist Dan out of the band because like Ryan and a couple other people. It's a piece of a song. I'll answer that question in a second. So we had to kick out Dan and replace him with this guy Mike, who was the bassist of a band that we did our first tour with. Super nice guy. He was the one that quit with Ryan on the same day that we were going to record this EP. And then after that, the guys decided that our original drummer Paul like wasn't up to scruff, and he like didn't care very much. So like they all started acting weird towards him, and then he called me and asked why everybody was acting weird towards him, and then I had to kick him out over the phone instead of in person in 2 days like we were planning to do. So that was fun. And then Aaron Stern started playing for us and played for us for about a year until everybody else quit the band in 2009 because they didn't think the band was going to make it. How wrong they were. But uh, yeah. So, and then like Rico is in Mike's band. There was this moment where we were talking about Rico joining the band, and Mike says the thing about Rico is, and he like kind of trails off, and I've always wondered what the end of that sentence was, and I feel like I wonder if it would have helped. Anyway, Aaron is such a good drummer. And like that, like all the drums are just on So Young, So Insane are too good for us. The drum fill of I Can Get Back Up Now, that he improv that. He did it in 2 takes. Like, holy shit. It was crazy. So, colorful language. So Rico joins the band, and he basically brings us most, if not the whole, sort of like instrumentation of this song, like whole cloth. He's like, cool, I got this, let's learn it, let's do it. And I think like maybe we added a couple things, but yeah, this was like a song he like brought to the table, and then like I wrote all the lyrics, the melodies and stuff over top of it. And oh no, like they're not like, none of the drums are bad, but just like some of the stuff you hear Aaron doing, like some of the stuff I only noticed when other drummers pointed out, but yeah, it's fucking impressive. If you listen to it like a dork, it's impressive. But so colorful language, in a lot of ways, is just a reflection of sort of like not being enough to anybody. You know, like at the time, like the major criticism, like from one of my other major relationships in life, was that like I'm kind of a robot and kind of unfeeling. And I think of just like how disconnected I was from myself, and how like sort of more or less constantly cut off from my body and emotions in order to survive. I used to be. I still have issues with it at times, but I'm much better than I used to. I cry regularly now, man. It's great. It also sucks, but you gotta feel it to heal it. So, yeah, because I'm just parts lacking heart. The other words are wrong on genius, as if that were ever good enough, you know. But yeah, just these ideas of like it's all too much. Like just not feeling like we're enough. Like everybody, you know, like and in music at the time, people were like, "What if you lost weight? You know, what if you wrote songs about sex? What if you wrote songs about girls? Like, what if you didn't do this? Like, what if you? Oh, you're gonna sound like Say Anything if you do that. Oh, you're gonna sound like Fall Out Boy if you do that." Like, oh, if you had come along 6 months ago, we would have signed your band for a 6-figure deal. But Fall Out Boy is out now. You know, like, just like all that stuff. It's like, great, I don't care about any of that. How's this record? How are these songs? So just feeling like you're not, you know, you're constantly told you're not enough. It's weird. I have a weird relationship with all of that. Especially with music, because I didn't sign up for this. I didn't know all this bullshit was involved. I didn't know the body dysmorphia was going to be a thing. I didn't know like the level of distrust I have for people in music that are probably like good folks, you know. But I have like this band has unfortunately, and like throughout the rest of my life, has been victimized in very unfortunate ways. But there, you know, in those ways, those were our decisions. Yeah, so it's a commentary on that, and then like wrapped in this whole idea of trying to forget. Like, I just want to feel good. I just want to feel good tonight, you know. and then we rap back a little farther. Like, I just want to feel. We start with this idea of, like, it all comes back to the fact that I don't ever love enough. Like, like people say I'm parts lacking heart, you know, as if that were ever good enough. Like, if I had heart, that would be good enough. But then I just want to feel like that's the admission. Like, they're right. They're right. Like, it's hard. Like, I'm afraid. Yeah, that's what that song's about. Yeah. Hell yeah. If anybody's got any questions, hit me with them. We're almost there. We're almost done. I feel like I'm. Oh, I realize the reason that we're so like all these like cults of personality. That was what I was saying earlier. Is and like I think one of the reasons that like hip hop is also so big is there's so much like bravado and braggadociousness in it, and the reason that confidence is such a hot commodity, even if it's manufactured or like photoshopped in, is because nobody has any. That's why hip hop is huge, because it's like, I am great, we the best. Go to H. How do you name your songs? This is a piece of song. Sometimes it's the name, sometimes it's a whole other idea. I think I used to have like, it used to be like maybe it's like a lyric or something that doesn't work within the song. Like, I can't make the syllables and the sounds work. Yeah, I realize I'm talking down in the chat. but like, I liked like the title of it, you know what I mean? Like, most books don't have like the title isn't like a phrase in the book. They're not like, oh, it was a mighty wind now or whatever. Umbershine, I gotta tell you how tempted I was to just fucking ad-lib it up, but I knew, like, I'm not that person. Like, I know I couldn't pull it off. Like, I'd want to, but I don't have the swagger. Like, I'm just me. Like, I'm me. Maybe I will. How do my lyrics come to me? So sometimes I sit down and like try. I at least try to like think about writing every day. But what I've started to do is really push. Yeah, exactly. That's the cosign I need. So I do a lot more listening now than I used to. I used to try to like write. Now I listen a lot more, and I find that like doing that in a deep way, and sort of like really listening to the world around you and taking things in and being present, you find a lot more inspiration. Things come together pretty easily. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's just this record. Maybe I got super lucky and everything came together in this insanely wild cosmic way that we're all going to wonder about for years when I start making dog shit after this next record. But who knows? They couldn't get rid of me after 15 years, so how are they going to do it now? So yeah, it's funny how I'm like confident, but I also hate myself. So that's colorful language. Yeah, like I think that song really came together after my girlfriend and I broke up. I remember just being like, yep, it's hard to feel things. And just reflecting on my life at that point. That was like right after the van, like my van burned to the ground, and I broke up with my girlfriend of like 2+ years within like 2 weeks of each other. And so like I was now homeless, like in like the month before everybody quit the band, right before we recorded the EP. So yeah, it was 2008 was a that back half of the year was hairy. Um, so moving on though, like we're almost there. We're getting down to the bottom of the rock block. Uh, Sometimes we have too much fun. So I think interestingly enough, this song is the most meaningful to me. Is this, or I can get back up now. So let me introduce this song by saying when I was recording the vocals for the demo, after we all wrote it together pretty quickly. It's like a pretty straightforward song, but it's great. It feels. When I was recording the vocals for the song, I remember Rico saying, like, after like the take was done, he like looked over and he was like, "Is this song about somebody in the room right now?" And I had to like then explain to them, like, no, this is about me having a conversation with myself. So this, like, I learned later, like, looking at yourself or experiencing yourself almost as if from outside of yourself is like sort of dissociation, or like it's very dissociative. So this is sort of like one of the first times I'm like exploring that. Would you please grab that guitar over there? I can't. My throat is all scratchy tonight, Goder. But maybe next week. There's a lot more songs to talk about next week. I'll try to keep it not so crazy long next week. So sometimes we have too much fun. He's like, is this song about somebody else or somebody in the room? And I'm like, nope. This is about, this is me having a conversation with myself. So, my drinking and just sort of like how out of control I felt and how like pulled around, just how like truly like lost and only existing as a reflection of others in order to survive I was, of what others, a reflection of what others needed from me in order to keep them from harming me. I essentially, didn't. Ooh, next week needs to be. We'll see. Sorry. So this song is very much like looking at myself and sort of being like, how is the sober me going to talk to the drinking me? Like, what would a conversation like that look like? And this song is sort of that, sober me is like, please believe me, this isn't where I want to be. Like, I imagine this cut of like me just sort of like, and then freezing, and then the voiceover being like, please, like, this isn't where I want to be. Almost off my feet and world rotating too fast for me. There's this like, I'm a fresh natural gust of wind. Sure, the breeze feels what? If I'm a fresh struck match, you are a gust of wind. Sure, the breeze feel fine, but you blow all the time. Tell me what's so wrong with letting me shine. Tell me what's so wrong with letting me shine. Yeah, this idea of like, sure, if I'm like talking to myself and we're having these conversations back and forth, what, next week's gonna be 2 EPs going, just a small little bit of acoustic in it, maybe. So yeah, I'm having these like conversations with myself, like, what would I think, like, what would I say to myself? What would I say to drunk me versus sober me? Like, we're trying to get, like, sober me is, like, trying to get things done. Like, there's this, like, thing that we're trying to do, and there's this talent, but there's this drunk Ben that's just, like, not getting in the way of it, but just, like, getting in the way of, like, being okay. Like, why? Like, I'm aware that this thing is, like, what's happening is a problem now. So that's a thing that's coming in the specter. This is me starting to sort of, like, explore the reality of my alcoholism. Like, I'm the garbage and the disposal. I'm a late model, almost told it. Like, I'm worn out. Still a charm around my neck because I haven't learned to tie a noose quite yet. Like I'm flirting with disaster all the time. Like in 2008, I was arrested for public intoxication in Story County, Iowa, after I blew a 247 after stumbling on the way back to the van. So like all this, like it was a rough year, and a rough time. Yeah, it was getting kind of dark for me. You know, my girlfriend at the time was definitely sort of tethered to stability, and I didn't have that anymore, and nobody around me was helping in that sort of way. We were just very much focused on like continuing and pushing forward and continuing to get keeping things moving with the band, just keeping it going. So we just continue to push forward. You know, and just getting into that, like, come on down here, it's nice and dark. On the gas can, you're the spark, sort of that, like, you know, you get drunk and you're like, I want to be fucking, like, I feel like I just want to, like, crawl in the hole, but I also want to, it's like, my bandmates once found me throwing bricks against the side of a dumpster outside of a motel, just bawling my eyes out. Just like trying to break things the way I felt broken, you know. Is that the darkest lyric I've ever written? I don't know. My wife Christine says that a lot of the lyrics are actually like very morbid, or not a lot of them, but like I talk about like blood and gross stuff and creepy crawly shit a lot. I don't know. But I don't know what the darkest is. I'm going to bet, yes, I really like playing Sometimes We Have Too Much Fun live. The song is named after, we were on tour, I think it was actually the Deer Hunter tour. And some people took Polaroid photos of the band while we played. And I took one of the pictures and I wrote, Sometimes We Have Too Much Fun on it. And then later that night, I drunkenly stumbled onto stage during the Deer Hunter's last song, chorus too early, to sing a group part, and then they had to drag me into the tour photo because I was so drunk. So Sometimes We Have Too Much Fun. The last time I had too much fun was March 26, 2011, 10 years and some change ago. Yeah, it's been a very long time. I'm a sober little girl now. That's the wrong tab. But so yeah, that's Sometimes We Have Too Much Fun. You know, and you'll see this theme re-explored as you go on. You'll start to notice as we continue on, there are a lot of callbacks to earlier releases and things of that nature. I hadn't yet done that because we didn't have enough. So yeah, that's. You know, I can't stand the way you're looking at me. I can't stand the way I'm looking at me. I remember these moments. Like, do any of you have several specific memories of looking in the mirror and sort of like trying, like the feeling of trying to orient yourself in time? Like, not like, when am I, like, you know, just like, what the fuck is going on? Almost like you grab the sink trying to reestablish your grip on life. Is it just me? So like that's what I can't stand the way you're looking at me. I can't stand the way I'm looking at me. That's about, like that back and forth, like I'm talking to the drunk me, like I'm talking to myself, like I'm clever. It's not that clever. Yeah, like you can have all the ego shit, you know, drunk Ben. You have all that shit. Like I'll keep my peace of mind. So there's this very dualistic relationship with myself for a long while, and that's what Sometimes We Have Too Much Fun's about. Now, lastly. This is fun. This is funny. This is like the least serious song on the record. Does anyone have any questions before we move on? We're almost done. I just started typing in the chat. What a dickhead. I remember being honest with, yeah, like it took me a long time to realize like that I'm not a man, and that like part of the like that was like part of why I had such a weird relationship with like men and like what dudes do. Like, do guys show each other their dicks a lot? Like, I don't get it. Like, I've never, like, I'm not ashamed, you know, like, just like, yeah, weird, like, stuff like that. Like, they show each other their dick to be like, can I send this? Like, do you think that's gonna, like, impress them? Nobody ever wants to see your dick. Every single dick pic should be immediately preceded by an explicit request. You get one per explicit request. That's that. But so happy birthday. Happy birthday is not about. There's a song by the band The Rocket Summer called So Much Love in You, I think. And it's awesome. And me and Ryan were like, that song's great. We want to write a song that makes us feel like that. So we tried to do that. And we had this, and like it feels like it, yeah, there's a little bit of that going on. Like it's not as like thick as that fucking tune, you know. But so we started like working with that, and I remember like Noel bought like one of the, it's called like a harmonium, or like it was this like little keyboard that he held, and it had like a little slinky tube that went in his mouth, and he would like he would like, or like he had like notes for like the happy birthday part. So we were just like, you know, while we were writing some of this, like I was like, while I was homeless, I would like sleep in Noel's basement, and Noel's family had a nice house for like extended periods of time, because like I wasn't bothering anybody. But the melodica, there we go. And and we would just like, we would play the Seinfeld drinking game with like huge bottles of wine, and then we would stay up all night and just come up with dumb shit making music. And one night, or one morning, like we wake up and he's like, I stayed up all fucking night, I got this great idea. And he's got like, he's playing his melodica, and I was like, that's cool. And he's got the little beat, like the and that's how like that was like, that ended up just being like the beginning of the song, and then we just ran with it. And yeah, we sort of combined those two ideas, and then assembled them pretty quickly. It felt good. Like I think the hardest part of writing that song would have been figuring out how to make it. I remember figuring out how to give it the right feel was weird. Like we couldn't quite make it sound quite right or feel quite right. Like a lot of the starts and stops in the song got really like tedious and specific. Like, all right, we got it short, long, short, long, short, long, and it just, that's what it took to get the song going. But the song is like sort of just about, you know, I was thinking about the way I felt, like feeling like I knew a lot, even with like my level of life experience thus far. I had experienced, you know, the only I'd lived a life already by the time I was an adult, and I remember thinking about how much I knew, and then, you know, here I am, 23, maybe 24, and knowing some like younger folks, like and thinking like, wow, they must. I remember feeling like thought like I knew so much back then. And I knew a stripper at the time who was very young and like very excited to start stripping. And or is it dancer now? What's the what exotic dancer? Um, Hell yeah, butt chug. Yeah, it's not a special thing. Being non-binary is not like special. It's just like an is. It's just like, yeah, it's an inside thing. It's not like, you don't owe anyone androgyny. Just like if you're you're autistic, you don't need to act like people like stereotype autistic people as. Like, that's not necessarily you. It's an inner experience. You don't need to put in words. It's just it's an is. We get very far away from the isness of things. And the closer we actually get to that, the more we just start to see, like, yeah, nothing is binary. Maybe the roots of things at their simplest are most binary, but things are not simple. This is a complex existence. But back to this. So I think, but yeah, stripper, exotic dancer, whatever. And funny enough, so the night after so this song was vaguely inspired by the same stripper, in the vaguest way. Same stripper that All Time Low wrote Dear Maria about. Just in that I remember just the confidence and just sort of being in awe of being that young and feeling that way, and feeling like one knows so much. And this is like what I don't think a lot of folks realize is, like, with anytime it appears that I'm like commenting on somebody else's shit, it's always my shit. Like, I wouldn't say anything about anybody else without acknowledging my own bullshit. Like, we're all full of it in ways. Yeah, her name's Maria. She's cool. But yeah, so like, I think I started thinking about this song like that way after. So when I almost died from diet pills in like 2007 because everybody in the band around me was like, "You're fat, you need to lose weight," and like my managers, Richard and Stephanie Rains, and my booking agent were like, "You're fat, you need to lose weight. You're fat," and I'm like, "Well, I live on $5 a day. Like, what am I gonna eat?" So anyway, so I invested in some Stacker 2 back when ephedra was still chill, and I almost died one night while I was out, like everybody was like visiting Baltimore to see like where I lived, from DC, and so I remember accepting my death on the phone with Poison Control as I lost consciousness, and then like the next day, like I woke up and I didn't actually die, so that was nice, and I decided to celebrate that by going to Maria's place and like getting drunk with her, and then like having this woman who became a porn star put a cigarette out on me 13 or 14 times. Yeah, so like I had a problem pretty early on. But yeah, like I don't know why I started like thinking about it that way, or back then. But that's like when it started to happen. Yeah, and I don't know, I just really liked this song, and it just seemed I don't know, yeah, I was just inspired to just write sort of a tale about just how much we think we know. We always think or for so long. I think the longer we live, if you do not have more questions than answers the longer you live, you are fucking up. Let's just put it that way. And part of it is accepting that. I think that's true for most. How do you end up getting me? So, yeah. So talked about it just a little bit earlier, but yeah, Max essentially like. Let me be frank, wink. Max essentially like publicly co-signed the band in like 2007 in like the fall. No, in like the spring of 2008 maybe. And yeah, so I like reached out to him to thank him, and he said no problem. If you ever want some guest vocals, let's do that. And then I did that, and then he did that, and then that's how they got on the record. Yeah, I felt real good. But that's guys, y'all. I think that's So Young So Insane. We fucking did it. 2 hours later, we did it. Yeah. Yeah, this week I had a little more time and a little more thought as to like how I wanted to like think about this album. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. We're gonna be here next Sunday, discussing Some Things Don't Wash Out. Maybe we'll have a guest or a performance or something. Yeah, I don't know. This is evolving as we go. It looks like COVID's gonna be a thing for longer than we expect. So I think this is just gonna stay a regular thing, and I think it'll just keep growing as we go. Remember, we have the new record out, or we have the new record coming out soon. Tell people about it. Pay attention to our social media tomorrow. Thank y'all so much. I'll see y'all next Sunday, and we'll be going over Some Things Don't Wash Out, the last full length. Nice. Y'all have a good night. Take care.